What's going on, you guys? This is your boy RBG, aka the Random Black Gamer, bringing you some more news on Transformers live action movies. If you aren't aware, Transformers Rise of the Beast has made its way over to streaming and Blu-ray and DVDs, and it's been doing its thing. I'm not quite sure how things are going in terms of actual profits, but apparently Paramount and Hasbro suggest that it's been doing quite well, especially when it comes to box office returns. It seems like they're finally ready to commit to their new direction that they have with these live action movies, which in quite honesty does feel a bit late, because we already know that they've been trying their best to figure out what works for the live action films. It seems like they still want to retain that bayformers audience, right? Because they racked in a lot of money from that last continuity, but at the same time they want to get rid of that negative stigma that those movies had. Obviously the story was one of the weakest points of them, and they got a little bit redundant. So heavy revitalization is in order, and they have to do that while this new continuity is still in its infancy. Now, since we are talking about the Bay films, I feel it's only right that I mention this project. You guys may remember a few months back I talked about this fan project that was in the works titled Transformers Rise of Unicron, which is a title that's been on the lips of the Transformers community for quite some time. We're talking something that's basically like a myth that's come to actual fruition. If you guys remember, people thought that this was going to be the title of the current movie that recently released, Transformers Rise of the Beast. Given the fact that Unicron was featured prominently throughout Transformers The Last Night without really doing much, many assumed that he would make his return in a sequel, and Rise of Unicron was rumored to be that follow-up film. And to this day, the origins of that title are still unknown. I'm not sure if it was a working title that Paramount and Hasbro came up with when they were thinking about doing this, or if it was just something the fans came up with for clickbait purposes. Like, it could be either of those things, because for the most part we did ultimately get a Unicron related film in the form of Transformers Rise of the Beast, where Unicron was essentially the antagonist pulling all the strings. I mean, it took us a few years to get to this point, with Hasbro erasing the old continuity and blowing the dust off of the canvas to make way for Bumblebee, but now we're here, and Unicron seems like he's gonna be an ultimate threat for the foreseeable future. But there are still those fans that aren't quite pleased with this new continuity, and they were really looking forward to seeing what Unicron would have looked like in the bayformers. And thankfully they are gonna get that chance. Now, I've already made a video dedicated to this, so I'm not really going to just go into complete detail. Just think of this as a sequel to that topic that we talked about. I might actually do a follow-up video on it later, but for the most part I just want to just talk about some of the newer things that have been introduced, because a lot has changed since I uploaded that video. H&F Productions, which is the name of the group that's going to be producing this film, has gotten the green light from Hasbro and Paramount in order to do so. Just thought I'd throw those details out there, since the last time I made a video on this, people were commenting that it was fake. Like, this thing is legit, guys, and they've been putting a lot of effort into it. The last time I checked one of their updates, they said that they were still doing on-location filming, so I think it's safe to assume that they're nowhere near completion, which is a bit disappointing, but you guys have to understand that they want this thing to come out right. Like, it's obviously not going to be anywhere near the Bay Films quality, since they don't have the budget for that, but they at least have the ambition and the drive to do it. So far, they've shown off some of the more mainstream characters, such as Optimus Prime and Bumblebee making an appearance, and what I love about this is that they're going to stay directly in line with what was produced in Transformers Age of Extinction and The Last Night, while preserving their looks, with their own little details added to them. And most of all, they're going to be utilizing characters that mysteriously vanished for no apparent reason, and to avoid breaking the canon, they're going to be bringing other characters back that passed away through flashbacks. We're talking characters such as Starscream, Soundwave, Shockwave, and Lockdown. And I love that they're doing this, man, because for the most part, all of those characters that we got in the bayformers were kind of one note. They didn't really do much outside of display their abilities, and then they just chunked up the deuces and they were gone like that. It's kind of like the Fox X-Men movies, right? Like, unless you're Professor Xavier, Magneto, or Wolverine, you're not really going to have much to do outside of just displaying your abilities and just vanishing like that. So this right here would at least give these characters more to do. It seems like this project is going to take everything into account, which includes the movie tie-in comic books, and they're also going to be featuring characters that were only featured in those comics, such as Skywarp and Thundercracker. But I want to talk about these two specific characters that they really went in on, those being Dino and Drift. These guys really got a lot of love put into their designs because, you know, they have different alt modes. Instead of sporting the Ferrari 458 Italia as this alt mode, he's now going with the 250 GTO, and the designer expressed that he's very passionate about the Ferrari and Dino, and he really enjoyed working on this one. I love how he retrofitted the classic endoskeleton that Dino had up in Dark of the Moon to fit this new car design. Like, it looks vintage, but it still captures that coolness that the character conveyed in the movie. And here we have Drift, who I'm very excited for. Instead of utilizing the Bugatti Veyron as his alt mode, he's now going to be sporting the 2022 Honda NSX Type S for his vehicle mode. It looks very sleek and sexy, and I think it still captures the essence of what Drift was up in the Age of Extinction, because if you remember in Transformers The Last Night, he went through a big vehicle demotion. I don't know, man, it was just something about that design that just wasn't hidden like it was in Age of Extinction. But now he's back and he has this new vehicle mode that's going to complement that. And I love the fact that the designer isn't being overly reliant on the pre-established models that they have at their disposal. Like, they are actually designing more things to the character. A lot of originality was pumped into this guy's design, from the new headpiece and the chest piece, which looks different. And they also took it upon themselves to kind of harken back to the lore of Drift, because as you know, Drift wasn't always an Autobot. He was a murderous Decepticon assassin that went by the name Deadlock. And they kind of gave clues to that in the movies. Like, we see Drift kind of have these manic episodes where he just rages out, right? But they don't specifically say that he's a Decepticon turned Autobot. Like, you wouldn't know that unless you read the comic books. So to pay homage to that particular aspect, they're actually giving him a Oni face mask, which adds to his ferocity when he gets angry. And I love that, man. Like, this is what we need. We need Transformers that can actually inject the things that we want to see into these properties. That's what Paramount is really lacking. Somebody that loves the source material and they're not afraid to use it when it's time. But anyways, I didn't want to go on a tangent and get off the main topic. Like, that's just something that I wanted to briefly mention, because it is a ambitious project that's got me very hyped to see what the end result is going to look like. But anyways, we got to talk about the main topic, which includes the success of Transformers Rise of the Beast. As we know, Paramount and Hasbro have been very adamant about making these things a successful box office hit like they were in the yesteryears. Like, ever since Transformers The Last Night bombed at the box office, it's been a downward slope. Although Bumblebee is one of the best rated films in the franchise, it didn't really do that well at the box office. But considering the fact that the movie didn't cost an insane amount of money to make, it was able to turn a profit. But that wasn't necessarily the case for Transformers Rise of the Beast. After the lukewarm reception of Bumblebee, Paramount and Hasbro felt like they needed to take it a step further and go back to the roots, which included pumping a lot of explosions and CGI into this movie to make it a box office juggernaut like the old movies were. And as expected, it costed them a lot of money to produce. We're talking in the 200 millions, which doesn't include the advertisements and promotions. And that money went in vain because the movie didn't make back what it put in. It didn't even break even at the box office. It cost the studio 200 million to produce, and it only made 439 million at the box office, which is strange because Sonic the Hedgehog 2 did close to this number at the box office, and it only cost them $90 million to make. So it seems like Transformers isn't the king of Paramount Studios anymore. That spot has kind of shifted over to the Blue Blur nowadays. But despite Transformers Rise of the Beast being the lowest grossing box office Transformers film, Paramount suggests that it actually managed to break even. It was actually a success, which I am very perplexed by. I feel like they're saving face on this, but I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. Like, maybe they see that this thing is going to take a while to build back to those big box office numbers they used to generate in the 2010s, and they're just taking their time with it. I would usually argue that the Blu-ray and DVD sales contributed to the success of this movie, but that just dropped yesterday, so it's still a bit too early to say if that was actually a contributing factor or not. I feel like they really need to just stay on the gas with what they're doing and just try to find a healthy medium on the explosions and all the CGI chaos. The story and the characters needs to be kept in mind, and as you guys have already heard me suggest, I really believe that they should just spotlight one character, kind of like what they do in the IDW comics, which funny enough is called the Spotlight series, where they focus on each individual character as opposed to the whole team. If you feature the main go-to guys, those being Bumblebee and Optimus, chances are the other characters are going to get sidelined. And unfortunately, even though this movie was called Rise of the Beast characters really felt that. Like, this should serve as a lesson to Paramount that you can't bloat your roster with characters that you're not going to do justice, let alone give a good idea of what their personality is going to be like. Although characters like Cheetor and Rhinox had faithful designs to their Beast Wars counterparts, they really didn't have any personalities. Had the Beast cast been featured in their own movie instead of being squeezed into one that had a very hefty roster, they would have shined more, man. And I really feel like Paramount needs to get that through their heads. Whoever is coming up with these decisions really needs to take their time instead of just throwing everything to the wall and hoping it sticks. But anyways, that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this video and hopefully it wasn't all over the place. Since there is a lot of content at our disposal, the Transformers community is obviously eating good, so I just wanted to talk about those things. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Are you hyped about this project coming down the pipeline? And what do you think about the current state of the Transformers film franchise? As always, I ask you like or dislike the video. It doesn't have to be a thumbs up, it can be a thumbs down. But if you really enjoyed this video, it would help me out tremendously if you shared it with all your friends and followers on all the different social media outlets. Sharing is caring. But once again, this is your boy RBG, aka the Random Black Gamer, signing out on another video. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out. As a successful YouTube user, I often get questions asking what I use to get my videos tons of views. And the answer to that is TubeBuddy. This thing has helped me take my channel to the next level in ways I never imagined. It's a browser extension that helps new and experienced YouTubers grow fast and optimize their channels. I've been using this extension for years and it's constantly getting updated with new features, like the SEO tool that helps me come up with the perfect title, description, and tags to get more people to click on my videos. It even provides you with analytics besides your videos to see how much traffic your video is generating from various social media sites. The extension is absolutely free, but as a special offer, we're giving a 50% discount for channels that have less than 1,000 subscribers that purchase the Pro upgrade. All you have to do is enter in the code RisingStarBuddy. So if you're interested in starting a YouTube channel or taking your content to the next level, download the extension now. You can do so by clicking on this link that will be provided in the description of this video.